Look for a moment and see if this sounds familiar. Someone mentions a nursing home and everyone nods quietly, like it is just a normal part of getting older, like it is inevitable. Like one day you simply hand over your keys, your routines, your independence, and move into a place where strangers decide your schedule. Most people never question this. They assume it is the safest option. They assume it is care. But here is the thing. There is a brutal truth behind this assumption that almost no one explains until it is too late. And it is not about fear, it is about awareness. Stay with me, because what I am about to explain could quietly change how the next chapter of your life unfolds. My name is Judith Carver. I am a senior protection educator. I have spent years studying patterns that affect seniors and families and translating them into plain language. And above all, I want you to remember this. Your rights do not expire with age. Here's the first truth that makes people uncomfortable. Many nursing homes are designed around efficiency, not individual dignity. That does not mean every facility is harmful or uncaring. It means the system itself is built to manage large numbers of people with limited staff while reducing risk and liability. Schedules are fixed because predictability protects the institution. Staffing ratios are tight because budgets demand it. Rules are strict because consistency is easier to defend on paper. Let me show you exactly what happened to a man named Robert. He lived independently for decades. He paid his bills, cooked his meals, and decided how his days unfolded. After a fall, his family placed him in a facility for what everyone believed would be short-term recovery. Meals were served at set times, whether he was hungry or not. Lights went out early, regardless of his habits. Requests required permission. Over time, he stopped asking questions. He stopped pushing back. He stopped making choices. The emotional consequence was quiet resignation that no one noticed at first. The punchline is simple and sobering. Independence fades faster when it is no longer practiced daily. This is the part nobody talks about, and it catches families off guard. Once you enter a nursing home environment, your legal and personal leverage often changes in ways that are difficult to reverse. Admission does not just involve moving into a room, it involves contracts. These documents are often presented during moments of exhaustion, fear, or urgency when someone has just been hospitalized or injured. You may be asked to sign admission agreements that quietly limit how and where disputes can be handled. Many include arbitration clauses that remove your right to have concerns heard in a public court. Most people never notice because the language is dense and the pressure feels immediate. Someone may say, "This is standard," or "This can be reviewed later." The emotional consequence shows up months or years down the road, when a problem arises and you realize your options are restricted. The brutal truth is that taking time to pause, ask questions, and have documents reviewed before admission can preserve rights you did not even realize were on the line. Pause for a moment. Let us talk about health. The common belief is that nursing homes keep people healthier, but inactivity is one of the fastest accelerators of physical decline. When walking is optional and routines are passive, muscles weaken faster. Eleanor was active at home, cooking, walking, gardening. After entering a facility, her daily movement dropped. Within a year, she required assistance she never needed before. The emotional consequence was frustration and loss of confidence. Short punchline: motion protects independence. Here is where it gets interesting, and it surprises many people. Loneliness can actually increase in a nursing home, even when other people are physically nearby. Being surrounded by others does not automatically create community. Community is built on shared history, choice, and mutual interest. In many facilities, social interaction is scheduled and encouraged, but not organic. Group activities happen at set times with people you did not choose and may not connect with. Harold believed companionship would come easily. He assumed proximity meant friendship. Instead, he felt invisible, sitting in rooms full of people who were just as withdrawn as he was. The emotional weight of that loneliness was heavier because he expected relief and found isolation instead. That disappointment quietly deepened his sense of loss. The punchline is clear and important. Real relationships cannot be manufactured in a crisis. They must be cultivated intentionally over years through friendships, family bonds, and community ties long before care is ever needed. Watch out for this because it unfolds quietly. Families often assume regular visits will fill the emotional gap once a loved one enters a nursing home. At first, the visits are frequent. Everyone promises to come often. Then life happens, jobs demand attention, grandchildren have activities, distance becomes harder to manage, visits slowly decrease without anyone intending harm. The senior notices every missed week. Many begin to internalize the absence and ask themselves, what did I do wrong? They may stop mentioning loneliness to avoid sounding needy. The emotional consequence is a deep sense of shame and self-blame that no one ever deserves. This is the untold truth. Depending entirely on others to protect you from loneliness places your emotional well-being outside your control. A fragile plan is one that relies on perfect circumstances. Building internal routines, friendships, and personal purpose is far more stabilizing than waiting for visits that may come less often than promised. Now listen carefully. One of the strongest protections against nursing home placement is remaining active in everyday life. Activity is not about marathons. It is about purpose, running errands, volunteering, helping a neighbor, attending church or clubs. These routines signal capability to doctors, insurers, and family. When professionals assess risk, they look at function, not age. The emotional consequence is empowerment. Short punchline. Use it or lose it applies to independence too. Most people never notice this. Attitude matters more than we admit. Seniors who remain pleasant, cooperative, and engaged are more likely to receive help, support, and inclusion. This is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about not letting bitterness isolate you. Margaret made a habit of kindness even on hard days. Her grandchildren visited because being with her felt good. The emotional reward was connection. Punchline. Warmth invites presence. Here is a gentle reality check. Complaining constantly pushes people away, even when complaints are valid. This does not mean suffering silently. It means choosing when and how to express frustration. The emotional shift is powerful. You regain control over how others experience you. The brutal truth is that people gravitate toward peace. Stay with me, because this part affects security more than most people realize. Legal and financial decisions are deeply tied to where and how you live as you age. Nursing home care is expensive, and the costs can quietly erode a lifetime of savings faster than families expect. Many assume insurance will cover most of it until they discover limits and exclusions. Medicaid rules are complex, and they vary by state, which adds confusion at the worst possible time. Families are often shocked to learn that certain assets must be spent down before help becomes available. This realization usually comes during a crisis, when choices are limited. Planning early with a licensed elder law attorney can reveal alternatives that many never hear about, such as structured home care arrangements or community-based services that preserve independence longer. The emotional shift is powerful. Panic gives way to relief. The punchline is simple and steady. Planning ahead buys options, and options protect dignity. This is where it gets crazy, and most people never see it coming. Once someone is labeled as needing institutional care, it can be very difficult to reverse that assessment. Labels have weight. Doctors, insurers, and care coordinators rely heavily on written records and prior evaluations. When a chart says you need assistance, that phrase follows you. Even when conditions improve, the label often remains. This is why staying active, maintaining social ties, and demonstrating daily competence matters more than people realize. These behaviors are not just personal habits, they become evidence. They influence how professionals perceive risk, capability, and future planning. The emotional impact of maintaining that perception is dignity. When you are seen as capable, you are treated as capable. The punchline is quiet but powerful. Perception shapes pathways. Let me show you exactly what happened to Linda. She made intentional choices long before any health scare. She invested time in friendships. She walked regularly. She learned basic technology so she could text, video call, and manage appointments online. When a health issue arose, she did not face it alone. Her network stepped in with meals, rides, companionship, and advocacy. Doctors saw support, not isolation. Institutional care was discussed, but postponed. Years passed. The emotional consequence was gratitude, not dependency. She felt supported without feeling erased. The punchline holds steady. Community is preventive care. Do not let them fool you. Aging does not mean disappearing from the world. Visibility matters more with time, not less. Being involved in family discussions, community events, faith groups, and decisions reinforces your role as a contributor, not a bystander. When seniors withdraw, often out of fatigue or discouragement, decisions quietly get made without them. The emotional consequence is loss of voice and relevance. The final punchline is one worth remembering. Stay present to stay powerful. So here is the mental shift I want you to carry with you. Nursing homes are not a moral failure or a personal defeat. They are one option among many. But avoiding unnecessary placement requires intention long before a crisis. Staying active is not vanity, it is a strategy. Surrounding yourself with friends is not social fluff, it is infrastructure. Choosing to be pleasant is not a weakness, it is an influence. When you invest in movement, connection, and mindset, you are not chasing youth. You are protecting autonomy. If a situation ever feels legally or financially complex, contact a licensed attorney or qualified professional who can give you guidance specific to your circumstances. You deserve calm, clarity, and respect. If this information helps you recognize a pattern or avoid a mistake, share it with friends, neighbors, or family members who may face the same pressures. Many seniors fall into these situations simply because no one warned them. A simple conversation can protect someone you care about. Carry this forward with you. Your rights do not expire with age.